High Christ blessed. We at the Belizean barbershop here in Belize City, Belize. It's going down. We are doing the first ever barbershop talk here in Belize. Y'all know we like to keep it organic. We like to keep everything scriptural first and foremost. All right, so today's topic, we dealing with the Bible. Who are the people of Belize? A lot of our people don't know there's a hidden gem right here in Belize, and it's the people, the tribe of Zebulon. What we're here to do is to wake our people up. Now, a lot of things people ain't used to. We're gonna ask some questions. Anybody here know what Jesus looked like in the Bible? Anybody have a depiction? How about this? I got $1,000 right now, cash money, US dollars. If somebody can show me in the Bible that Jesus Christ was a white man. No? You know why it's hush hush? Because it ain't there. We've been lied to. We've been lied to about the depiction and color of Christ. And why is that? Because whenever you take away the depiction and color, you take away the history of the people of the book. Watch this. I need to read it. Give me Revelations 1.
Revelation chapter 1 and verse 1.
Read this.
The revelation of Jesus Christ.
The root word of revelation is the revealing of Jesus Christ. Read.
Which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass.
Read.
And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John.
So we about to see the revealing of Jesus, right? We're going to see if he's a white man or if he looks like you. Give me verse 10.
Verse 10. I was in the spirit on the Lord's day, and heard behind me a great voice, as of a trumpet, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last.
First and the last, read.
And what thou seest, write in a book.
So Jesus Christ told John the Revelator, what you see, John, write it in a book. That's the book we're reading right now. Read.
And send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira,
Read.
and unto Sardis,
Come on.
and unto Philadelphia,
Read on.
and unto Laodicea.
Read.
And I turned to see the voice that spake with me.
Wait, so now he said he turned to see the voice. What do you see with? Your eyes, right? John said, I turned to see the voice that spoke to me. Come on.
And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks.
Read.
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man.
So he saw a menorah, and he saw what? Jesus Christ standing there, right? Read.
Clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle.
Come on.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Now hold up. It says the hairs that was on his head and the hairs that was on his face was white and woolly texture. Now, I don't know about you, but I know what wool looks like sheep's wool, right? Is that a white man's hair or is that black man's hair? That hair's like, yo, look, get it close up. My man got woolly textured hair. Woolly textured hair, woolly textured hair, right? Now, wait a minute. The Jesus that they show us don't have woolly textured hair. It's long, stringy hair, right? Blonde, right? It says his hair was white and woolly textured. Read.
As white as snow.
Come on.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Read.
And his feet.
Wait. The scripture says his feet, like I can see your feet. He said he looked and seen his feet. Read.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
Hold on, bro. What color is brass, bro? Huh? Brown. Who said that? Brown. Brass is brown. He looked at his feet and he saw his feet. Now I can see your feet and I know what color you are, right? Same as here. He said he seen his feet and it was like brass. That was the color of it. Read.
As if they burned in a furnace.
Now you take that brass and you burn it. What happens when you burn anything? It becomes darker. It says this is the depiction of Jesus. So it said he had woolly hair and dark brown skin, what we call black today, right? Now, why don't they tell us this in church? Why do they show it? Give me Daniel's 10. Why do they show us the image of a Caucasian man? Because those that enslaved us is the ones that taught us religion. Here's another challenge. $1,000 US. If you can show me in the Bible where God told you to be Baptist or Catholic, Methodist, Pentecostal, Show me anywhere in the Bible where it says to be Mormon, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness. Are any of those there? No. So why do they tell us to be these things? Who gave us denomination? Man gave us denomination. Give me Daniel 10:5.
Daniel chapter 10, verse 5.
Read.
Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz.
Come on.
His body also was like the beryl,
His body like the beryl.
and his face as the appearance of lightning.
Read. It's the same thing John saw. Watch.
And his eyes as lamps of fire.
Come on.
And his arms and
It
his
says
feet.
his arms and his what?
And his feet.
And his feet. Read.
Like in color to polished brass.
Come on, man. That ain't no white dude, bro. That is not a white dude. So why do they teach us Jesus is white? Watch this. Give me Songs of Solomon. Let's see if it gets any more descriptive. Songs of Solomon chapter 1 verse 5.
Song of Solomon chapter
Anybody know who King Solomon is? King Solomon was the son of King David, right? That's David's son, right? So just like you got kids, you got a son, I bet your boy look just like you, right? Is he white? No, he looks like you, right? Watch this. This is King Solomon. Watch this.
Song of Solomon chapter 1 verse 5.
Verse 1.
Verse 1.
Read.
The Song of Songs, which is Solomon.
This book belongs to who?
Solomon.
Solomon's writing, right? Read verse 5.
Verse 5.
Come on.
I am black.
Read it again.
I am black.
Read it again.
I am black.
Solomon said what?
I am black,
Read.
but comely.
Read on.
O ye daughters of Jerusalem.
Hold on, just in case you think we're lying. Look at this. Verse 5. I am black. This is King Solomon. Look. I am black. This is the Bible. Why don't they show this to us in church? Why have they never taught us this? Solomon, who also is an Israelite, was what? Black. Like you, like me, like you, right? So why don't they teach us this in church? Give me Job 30 and 30. Why have we never heard of these black people in the Bible? Because those who oppressed us taught us religion. The only reason why the citizens here in Belize speak English is because of what? Huh? Huh? Think about it. Like where I'm from, my people, we speak English, right? You go down into the Dominican Republic, there they speak Spanish. Puerto Rico, they speak Spanish. Well, what happened? My people were enslaved by the English, just like your people. That's the only reason why you and I speak English. Same thing with in the islands, in the West Indies. Who enslaved there? You had the British that came through there, right? The only reason why we believe in white Jesus is because white people told us they had who Jesus was. Job 30 and 30.
The book of Job, chapter 30 and verse 30.
Read.
My skin is black upon me.
Come on, man. He said my skin is black. Why? Where's the sermon at? Where the preachers at? Why the preachers ain't telling us that Job said his skin was black? It's all over the Bible. But because of religion, they say, no. Don't go to that. Don't talk about that. Why? Because the images they've given us for so many years looks like who? Looks like our oppressors. So my question to you is, think about this. All right, we know Jesus is black. We've read it. Does it matter? Because that'd be the first thing someone says. Does it matter?
Yes, it matters.
You says it matters. Why does it matter to you?
Because if it matters to the European them who pick Jesus as white, it must matter to us too, right? Because by then saying Jesus is white, give information, stating the miracles and everything that Jesus did, saying that if Jesus is white, that means we are the people of God.
Woo!
Right?
That brother flocking, bro.
I'm just saying.
That's real.
I'm just saying.
That's real. You'll start to connect the dots. Like, hold on, wait a minute. Like, here's an example. Who's do y'all have any like civil leaders out here? Like any heroes as far as like what's that highway name? Philip Ghost? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Philip Ghost is highway.
Who is he?
He was the prime minister, right? He was the prime minister of Belize. He was the prime minister of Belize, right? Philip Ghost, right? Yeah.
Was he about his people? Did he love his people? I take it that he did great for his people, right? What if tomorrow the white man showed up and said, hey, Philip Golson looks like this white image? Why would they change it? Because when you take away from who he was, you remove his heritage from him. Give me John 8.
John
32.
John chapter 8, verse 32.
This is why it matters. Read.
And ye shall know the truth.
Ye shall know the truth.
And the truth shall make you free.
The truth will make you free. That's why it matters. The truth is going to matter. Give me Psalms 119, 142. What is truth? According to the Bible, let's see. Psalms 119, 142. Let's go.
Psalms chapter 119 and verse 142.
I got you. It says, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Read.
Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness.
Come on.
And thy law is the truth.
The laws of God is the truth. What happened whenever they made that white image? We forgot who we were. Therefore, we forgot what was required. Now, I got a question. Did any of y'all go to church? How do you get to heaven? In order to go to heaven, what must you do?
Me personally, according to the Bible, reading the Bible, they say only way to get to heaven, Christ state that and other people state that, Harley, right? Moses and everyone state that only way to get to heaven is to follow God's commandments, right?
Right.
That's what it says. Follow God's commandments, right? And God's commandments, the first commandment stating that you shall have no other God
before me.
Yeah, before God, and so forth. The rest coming down and combine together or they connect together to make a peaceful society. Right. That's what the commandment is now, just to make a peaceful society within everyone without having sin.
Right.
In the whole picture, right? That means the world will be peaceful, right?
Right.
Right? Without no wars, without no type of
no
negativity,
death.
Nothing, right? But that's what I believe God put the commandments there for, right? For peace.
Right.
For peace.
So watch this. Do you know that there's more commandments than that? I'm going to give you an example. Matter of fact, y'all are barbers, right? Watch this. Leviticus 19. What is it, 27?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, have you ever heard this in the Bible? And then tell me why they don't teach it. Read.
Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 27.
Read.
Ye shall not round the corners of your head.
God says you are not to round the corners of your head. Read.
Neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard.
You know what mar the corners of your beard means? A man's supposed to have a beard on his face. You cannot bald your head, neither can you mar the corners of your beard. Give me Leviticus 21 and 5.
Leviticus chapter 21 and verse 5.
Read.
They shall not make baldness upon their heads. Neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard.
So this was the custom we kept. Now we as Israel, we stayed fly. We stayed groomed, just like y'all grooming brothers up, we did that. But the law was you couldn't cut off your beard, you couldn't bald your head. But who told us that was okay? The bald Romans taught us that balding your head was all right. Our oppressors told, a man with no facial hair, oh, that looks professional. Where I'm from, they say you look more professional when you shave your beard. That's not according to the Word of God. According to the Word of God, a man's supposed to keep a beard on his face. Here's another one, because he's talking about the commandments, right?
Can I add something?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Why is it? Because God said that we should not mark our head or cut the sign of our beard.
Right.
Why is it important for doing so? The people would have wanted to know that also as well. Why is it important not to cut your hair or cut the...
I got you. You know why? Because God said so.
That's right.
That's what, think about it. You got kids too, right? You got children?
Yeah.
You tell your kid, hey, go clean your room. Is your child going to turn around and say, why, Dad? Hell no, I'll bust his lip. You better do what I told you. That's the same thing with God. Remember, when we came out of Egypt, we were doing things that the Egyptians did. The Egyptians would shave off their eyebrows. They would shave their heads. They would shave their beards. They would put tattoos on their bodies for the dead, things of that nature. We learned all these customs in Egypt. God said we are not to be like that. Here's another example of a law that we need to keep. Here in Belize, what do they call them in West Indies? Bate boys. homosexuality, right? What is your thoughts on that according to the Bible? Is God okay with homosexuality? You say no, right? What you say, boss man?
He said no.
You said no, right?
Yeah, he said no. He said no.
Okay. But what's this? Where I'm from.
Good man said no.
Huh?
I said good man said no.
Okay, but why do people say it's cool? Like people say like, oh no, man, it's all right now. God, yeah, he gave a suggestion, right? Can a man and another man create a baby? No. Can a woman and another woman make a baby? No. God didn't make man to go inside of another man, and vice versa. But the law tells you, give me that law in Leviticus 18.
Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 22.
Read.
Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind.
Read.
It is abomination.
That's an abomination for two men to lay with each other. It's an abomination in the sight of God. Where the pastors at though? Let's go reteach this. You know what's happened? You start to teach the truth, like the laws, the commandments, the money leaves. They run out the door with the money. Speaking of money, have y'all ever heard of paying tithes? Will you give 10% of your money to the preacher? Okay, here's another challenge. $2,000 for anybody that can show me that in the Bible. Show me where you're supposed to give your pastor 10% of your money that you get paid. It ain't there. But you know what though? Everybody's doing it. Oh, please.
Well, it's not that it's biblically in the text itself. The process of tithing is something that kind of just evolved in the churches over time, right? So like obviously the original Jewish temple, they'd have the Paschal sacrifice and every family brings a lamb to kill. And when Jesus Christ died, he made himself the final Paschal lamb, the Lamb of God who be sacrificed for all of mankind. So the Eucharist kind of became that sacrifice in which the lamb would be sacrificed to God. And in the early church, because they lived in a community to get the bread and wine that was necessary for them to conduct the ritual in memory of Christ, they gave bread and wine. Different individuals from all the congregation did that. And slowly over time, that tradition transformed into giving money instead, because like Locke said, when labor is divided, basically labor becomes more productive. So because labor became more productive and it was easier to use money as a means of exchange to gain the bread and wine necessary for the rituals, they tithe. It's not like it's something that was just created, right?
Deuteronomy 14. Let me show you something. Some things you said was correct, some things not correct. Remember, when I say tithe, you're saying that's the law that you have to give 10%.
No, it's a tradition that evolved and is kept up.
Right, so that means being tradition, it's not of the Lord, right?
Well,
speak. This is barbershop talk. We want to hear from.
Things can be of the Lord if they are tradition.
Name one.
For example, like you mentioned earlier, there are some earlier traditions which were given down in the Pentateuch, particularly Leviticus about not cutting your hair. But I forget exactly which gospel it was that Jesus established that not all of the Mosaic law is continuous with the new and eternal covenant. So I think stuff like cutting your the hair and the beard and those hygiene practices are non-continuous, and the reason I assume that some of those practices are at least non-continuous is because when Jesus told the disciples, basically the washing hand, I forgot which part of the gospel it was, where the disciples and the leaders of the temples got into an argument about washing the hands, and Jesus said it's not what you put into your mouth, but what comes out of you. So he's showing a level of discontinuity between the Mosaic law.
That's Mark 7. So again, remember I said tradition of man? Okay. Washing of hands, what they were talking about, that was not the law. That was a tradition that the Jews created. Similar to how people now are tithing, saying this is tithes, give 10% of your money. That's tradition. That's not the law. So I want to deal with the first thing. Give me Deuteronomy 14:21 or 22.
Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22.
Read.
Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed,
Read.
that the field bringeth forth year by year.
Come on.
And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to place his name there.
Read.
The tithe of thy corn,
The tithe of thy corn,
of thy wine,
wine.
and of thine oil,
That's what you were talking about, right? What they were tithing. Read.
and the firstlings of thy herds and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always.
Read.
And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from thee,
Right.
which the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name there.
So if your tenth was let's say you're bringing corn, or you were bringing your sheep, or you were bringing wine, right? That was your tenth. But it was too heavy for you to carry, right? Read.
When the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, then shalt thou turn it into money.
You was to sell that corn, you sold that lamb, you sold that wine, and you did what?
Turn it into money.
Took that money now, read.
And bind up the money in thine hand.
Now remember, you was saying like traditionally, like how they dealt. You know they had money back then. Remember, the tithe was only for one people, which was the priest, right? The Levites. They would take that money now, once they transferred it from the goat or the sheep or whatever. They took that money, read.
And bind up the money in thine hand, and shall go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose.
They walked all the way down to where they were to sacrifice, which was where? You remember? Jerusalem, right? The temple, that's where the temple was located. So if they lived too far, let's say they stayed up in northern Israel, and they couldn't walk all the way down to where the temple was at, right? Read.
And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after.
Wait a minute. Why did they give the money to the priest? It says that they was now, once they got to Jerusalem, you take that money and you bestow that money for what?
For oxen, or for sheep,
or
for wine,
Read.
or for strong drink.
Strong drink. It was never did they take the money and say, here, pastor, here's my tenth, here's my tithe. That was never the custom. Now, what I think you were trying to explain in the new covenant concerning how they kept the buildings, right? Because think about it, if we're going to have a place for us to come, let's say it was to build a synagogue or a building, it would take money to help each other. It takes money. That's fine. And the New Testament is called alms, just like it was called in the Old Testament. That never changed. That was always there. You give what you can to help make sure the body is taken care of. But never in the Bible were you commanded to give your pastor, who is not a Levite, 10% of your money. That's called stealing when you tell somebody God said that you got to give a tenth. This is your tithe. Now, back to the tithe. The tithing was only for what?
I don't, in what context?
Meaning, why was the tithe necessary?
Well, I think the tithe was necessary because there were certain upkeep of the church that were necessary. So instead of everybody individually giving that sort of labor to the church community, it's easier to use a currency which can be traded for other services to get the necessities for the church, which is where the tithing would come from. It's just being practical with.
Numbers chapter 18 and verse 23.
Read.
But the Levites shall do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Read. The Levites, remember, you had the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, right? You had Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Gad, Naphtali, Asher, Manasseh, Dan was there, Ephraim was there. You had 12 separate tribes. Remember when God gave the land to Israel, everyone had their place where they dwelt, right? Did Levi have an inheritance of land?
I'm not very familiar with the
That's fine. I don't know everything. But Levi did not have an inheritance of land. What did God give them? Read.
But the Levites shall do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they shall bear their iniquity.
Read.
It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation, that among the children of Israel they have no inheritance.
They have no inheritance of land, but they were to bear what? The iniquity of the sanctuary, the place of worship. It was Levi that kept up the temple. Remember, sacrificing was every single day. You had different sacrifices that was made for different high holy days. Sacrificing was an everyday working of Israel. That was, when you understand the laws, that's our government. That was what we live by, or code, our ethics, right? So now, the Levites did not have an inheritance of land. So what did God give them? Read.
But the tithes of the children of Israel, which they offer as an heap offering unto the Lord,
come on,
I have given to the Levites to inherit.
To who?
The Levites to inherit.
Can anybody be a Levite?
Well, my question would be, why are you relying so much on the old, like Pentateuch practices and that history coming into the new church and the new covenant?
I'll show you why. I'll show you why. Give me John 5. Watch this. I'm going to go to the New Testament to answer your question. John 5, what is it, 45?
How can ye believe which receive honor of another, and seek not the honor that cometh from God only?
Watch this.
Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father.
This is Jesus speaking.
How can ye believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that cometh from God only?
Read.
Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father.
This is Jesus speaking. I want to show you so you can see. It says, do not think I will accuse you to the Father, Jesus says. Read.
There is one that accuseth you.
He says there's one that accuses you. Come on.
Even Moses, in whom ye trust.
Who is Moses? How does Moses accuse? Let me find it myself. We're at verse 45. John chapter 5, verse 45. Read that again.
Verse 45. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you.
Come on.
Even Moses, in whom ye trust.
And even Moses, in whom you trust. Moses is going to be the one to accuse you. Why? Because the law came through Moses, correct? The Most High gave the laws to Moses to give to Israel. Where are those laws found? In what you just called the Pentateuch, right? The first 5 books. Read.
For had ye believed
He
Moses,
said, for had you believed Moses,
ye would have believed me.
you would have believed me. This is the biggest misconception today, right? Because think about it.
So I completely understand what you're saying, right? So the Old Testament is basically a prefiguration of Israel moving towards God, showing that ultimately God's promise will be fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ. What I'm saying is I don't think necessarily all the strict dietary laws and like the practices that were present in the Pentateuch and the old laws,
Like tithing?
necessarily apply in the same context and the same time. But I think tithing is not directly borrowed from the old laws and those traditions.
You say it's not borrowed from the old law?
It's not directly. I don't think it's directly.
It's literally named tithe and it's taken from Leviticus, Deuteronomy the 14th chapter. Watch this though. And this is what we're trying to show you. The biggest misconception is that the things found in the Old Testament are done away. Nowhere in the Bible do you read that. Matter of fact, if you actually read and you'll check it out, or you let me show you, you see more times in the Bible that you are told to observe all of these laws that Moses spoke of. Now, am I telling us that we need to sacrifice? Is that what you're asking? No. Okay, well, then you don't, okay, I won't answer that then. But you do need to keep the commandments. So like Exodus 20, that's where the 10 Commandments is found, right? We still got to keep the commandments?
I'd assume so. There's no reason to assume that Exodus.
Let's prove it. Let's prove it with the Bible. Watch this. Matthew 5.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17.
Read.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
This is Jesus speaking, right? Jesus said, don't you even think for a second that I am come to what? Destroy the law. Now, mind you, we can read something so direct as this, but because of our flesh, we want to make excuses to, hold on, let me finish. We want to make excuses to say, well, no, I don't really want to. That ain't what Jesus said. He said, don't think I came to destroy the law.
Or the prophets.
Or what the prophets wrote. Read.
I am not come to destroy,
Read.
but to fulfill.
He came not to destroy, but to fulfill, right? What did he fulfill?
The promise made to Israel.
Exactly. The promise made to Israel as well as all the prophecies that was written of him, right? Acts the 3rd chapter. He came and fulfilled all the prophecies and suffered. He fulfilled Isaiah 56, 53, all that was written of him, right? Read on.
For verily I say unto you,
truly I say unto you, Jesus said,
till heaven and earth pass.
Is heaven and earth still here? Read.
One jot or one tittle,
not a comma or a period,
shall in no wise pass from the law.
Now why would we think about it? We'll say, well, there's things back then that they did. But Jesus said not a comma or a period is going to pass from the law. Read.
Till all be fulfilled.
Read.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of the least commandments and shall teach men so.
Least commandments are the things that our people today don't know. Like we just read about the beard, right? That's the law. That's a commandment from God. If God tells you to do something, that's a commandment.
So you're saying that Jesus says not to break the least of the laws, but then when he was interacting with the temple high priest, when he raised somebody from the dead, on Sunday that was supposed to be work, and that was the law that was supposed to be kept, that Jesus did not adhere to, which is the least of the laws. In addition to the animal.
You're saying Jesus sinned. Like you listen to your words. You say he didn't adhere to. Was Jesus sinless? Was he perfect, or did he sin?
Well, he's obviously perfect. Right?
Okay, so that means your understanding of what he did that day isn't according to the law. Jesus did not break the commandment on that day. Remember, when you read in Matthew the 12th chapter what you're talking about, when you read about that, Jesus came and he helped somebody on the Sabbath day, right? And they was accusing him. Just like in Mark 7, the washing of hands, there was things that the Pharisees were making up that wasn't the laws of God. Similar to what people say today, you got to give 10% of your money to the pastor. That's things that people have made up. That ain't the laws of the Most High God. So think about it. Can you say Jesus sinned? No. So did he break the Sabbath? No. It's okay to do good on the Sabbath. That's what Matthew 12 is talking about.
That seems like a recapitulation of the law. Like Jesus said,
No.
you've heard it said what I say, which means that's kind of a recapitulation of what was originally there because Jesus has been given authority.
Meaning, this is what I think he's trying to say. Meaning, they didn't have the understanding concerning it. Watch this, Psalms 111 and 10. In order for you to be able to tell somebody about what God says, you have to have the understanding to do so, right? Watch this, Psalms 111 and 10.
Psalm chapter 111 and verse 10.
Read.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, beginning of being wise. Read.
A good understanding.
And a good understanding.
Have all they that do his commandments.
In order to have a good understanding of God's word, you have to do his commandments. Otherwise, your understanding isn't good. So whenever you see things, because it sounds like, and I've heard what you said before, well, Jesus broke the Sabbath day. No, he didn't. How could he be the perfect sacrifice day? Jesus came and showed them how to observe it properly and to remove man's traditions away. Give me Mark 7, what he quoted. Remember, he says you put man's traditions over the laws of God. That's what they were doing. They weren't observing the commandment. They were making things up. Matter of fact, they were binding burdens on the people that even themselves they wouldn't do.
But then how can you tell what's made of the authority? Authority could be changed by Jesus via divine command. How can you tell what's binding and what is liable to flux, I guess?
Okay, so watch this. Once again, a good understanding have all they do is commandments, right? Have you ever read in the Bible that it said you cannot help your brother or take an ox out of a ditch that's been hurt? Have you ever read that?
No.
You know why? Because it's not there. That's what I'm trying to show you. They made things up. They put things there. Oh, you can't heal nobody on the Sabbath day. Where is that in the Bible? Just like I asked earlier, where does it say Jesus was white? Where does it say that you have to give 10% of your money to the pastor?
Well, sorry, just a side note. On the Jesus was white note, I think that he's like a Semitic person. He probably looks like the people
just
from
like
Palestine.
Huh? Yeah. That's what we're trying to show you.
Yeah, but then if he's Semitic, you're trying to apply to him traits that we would typically associate with people from like South Africa, like sub-Saharan Africa, but Jesus was a Semitic person, which means he looked more similar to modern Palestinians, people from North Africa,
Okay, watch this.
Egyptians.
Let's see. Historically, Northern Africa, has that always been inhabited by what they call Middle Easterns today?
I'm trying to think. So,
Northern
I
Africa.
mean, you could say that. I don't know how I want to approach this question actually. Just continue with your point.
Okay, so watch this. Let me show you. Remember the land of Canaan. Canaan was the son of Ham, right? You remember Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, right? Okay, Ham was the son of Canaan. The land in which Israel is today was inhabited by the sons of Canaan, or the sons of Ham. What color were the sons of Ham? Do you remember the Hamitic people?
I wouldn't.
Huh? Black people. This is what you know today. And they call them Canaanites, right? These people were the same people that were on the walls in Egypt. You see those black people who were serving as slaves in Egypt? Okay, so I'm not saying that we come from Hamitic people. I'm saying you're Shemitic, not understanding that all 3 of Noah's sons looked alike. They were all black people. When you know that everybody comes from Adam, right? You know that there was something.
I wouldn't take the first books of the Bible that literally. I don't believe in like biblical literalism when it comes.
So you don't believe it to be literal?
When it comes to the early parts of the Bible, I believe that while they might not, exactly depict reality. They kind of show us what the relationship between God and his people should be, and reveal to us certain aspects of God through the relationship with his people.
So I want to make sure I'm understanding you. You're saying basically you don't believe the first books to be literal. You don't believe them to be. I only take it as
historically accurate. Obviously, I don't believe in a 7-day creation. You know.
What do you mean? You don't believe in 7-day creation?
That the world wasn't created in 7 days.
Okay, and you don't believe that why? Science?
I guess it's conclusive. I know the evidence, and I know there's the argument against the fact that there could be a 7-day creation because there is no way to prove that the scientific laws we have now that we use to date objects were the laws at every single point in time, and they could have been different. So we have no way to prove that those scientific laws were always the laws. But in absence of like good evidence against the fact that those laws were always the way that they are, I don't believe that we should like throw away the entire scientific enterprise.
So this is where you're at. Let me show you out with you. You're at a crossroads. And the reason being is because you're allowing science and man's interpretations to override what God said. Watch this. Give me 2 Timothy 3.
2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16.
Read that.
All scripture is given by inspiration of God.
All scripture. Is God a liar?
No, you can't attribute that straight to him.
Okay, so it says all scripture is given what?
By inspiration of God.
Read.
And is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness.
So here's an example. Let's start at the beginning. Do you believe that there was an Adam? You don't know?
Yeah.
Okay, watch this. Let me show you. Give me Genesis 2.
Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26.
Read.
And God said, let us make man in our image.
I believe this to be true. That might be the difference. I believe these words to be inspired by God and to be true, and that God is not a man that he should lie. Wait, hold on. Let's finish it. Read.
And God said, let us make man in our image.
God said, let us make man in our image.
After our likeness.
After our likeness.
And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea.
Come on.
And over the fowl of the air.
Read.
And over the cattle. And over all the earth.
Read on.
And over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Read.
So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him.
Read.
Male and female created he them.
Read on.
And God blessed them.
Read.
And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply.
Do you believe this to be true?
I do believe that to be true. I do believe that it reveals important parts of God's relationship with his people, but I don't necessarily believe it to be true that all of this happened in 7 days. It could have happened through the natural processes that we observe now, and those can still speak to the truth of those processes.
And you have your belief how you see this. And I'm going to tell you, that's what's wrong with us today. What's happened is man comes here and they pick what they want to believe, right? Give me Romans 3 and 3. You can't, God is not, he don't budge. He doesn't adjust. He doesn't adjust to our way of thinking and how we see things. Read that.
Romans chapter 3 verse 3.
Come on.
For what if some did not believe?
And that goes to this day. What if some people don't believe? What if they come here and say, oh, I like that, but I don't like that? You know who does that? The LGBT community today. They say, oh, I like the stuff about Jesus dying for my sins, but I don't like it when God said I can't do this. See what I'm saying? Read.
Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect?
Because someone doesn't believe it to be true, will that make the faith of God without effect?
God forbid.
No, read.
Yea, let God be true.
Do what?
Let God be true.
That's our stance. We're going to let God be true. Every word that God spoke is true. It's just that man can't wrap his mind around it. Read.
But every man a liar.
Every man a what?
A liar.
A liar. This is what's happening. This is how you get different denominations. This is how you get different religions. They come to certain parts and say, we accept that, but we don't want to do that. See what I'm saying? This has been the problem in our community. This is why we, to this day, we have these different denominations that God did not ordain. He did not call us to this. Give me 1 John chapter 2 and verse 3. This is the difference between those that believe, those that are on the fence. And I'm going to be honest, I was just like my man right here at one point. Because I felt like, man, all right, that makes sense. But nah, that don't make sense. I did the same thing with science, right? Because I would say, well, according to science, the earth is thousands upon thousands of years old, right? And then I also checked in the same place where they talked about paternal haplogroups. You know about paternal haplogroups?
Haploid, half of the cell, paternal half.
Right.
Cells received from the father, right?
Yeah,
DNA
so
received from the father.
that's the paternal, and then you have the maternal, right?
Yeah.
Well, they said that they traced everybody's lineage back, according to science, over 275,000 years ago. And you know where it came back to? Everybody on earth comes from one man. And you know what color they said that man was? Black.
Well, yeah, black, yeah.
You know why? If you actually, like I said, look at genetics. Science teaches you genetics, right? And I don't want to offend anybody, but Caucasians are what you know is genetically recessive. Okay, their traits are a mutation of your traits. The first man on earth was a black man, and everybody came from him and that black woman. Now, as people migrated and moved and all other stuff, you know, different things changed. But even science takes you back to one person. So when I looked at things like that, I said, you know what? If I try to ride with science that changes every so often, like the Big Bang Theory, you have new, everybody switches things up. Science that comes to the determination that it can neither prove or discredit God. I say, you know what? I'm gonna ride with God because God explained all these things before time. So where did I have you go before?
1 John chapter 2.
2 and verse 1.
1 John chapter 2 verse 1.
Read.
My little children, these things write I unto you, that ye sin not.
That ye sin not.
And if any man sin,
Read.
we have an advocate with the Father.
So this is the point of today's conversation. We're trying to get our people out of the midst of sin. Y'all got gangs out here in Belize? What sets y'all got out here? Huh? I mean, amongst it, I'm from, okay, we got gangs where I'm from. We got 6-0s, we got 9-0s, we got Pyrus, 4-5-6, we got murder, what's that? We got some new stuff they created. We got Inglewood family, a lot of different gangs, right? How is it in 2024 we still gang bang? Let's be honest, bro. Meanwhile, we gang banging and fighting amongst each other, right? But all the other nations is coming together and building. Where I'm at, you got the Asians. They'll come in, they'll build their community and leave everybody out. They take care, they'll shack up. It'll be like 30 of them in one house. They come in, they stack their money, and what do? They buy businesses, they buy homes, and they spread them out to their people. And then when they make their businesses, they buy from each other. If they get a grocery store, they buy from their grocery store. If they get a barbershop, everybody comes to their barbershop, right? But we as a people, we're too busy competing with each other. Why? Because we left God's laws. We have to come back to what God said and stop thinking about what we want to do. Scriptures tell you about the forward thoughts of man. It's dangerous, bro. It's dangerous. What you'll find out, most people that say they believe in Jesus, right? They believe in the Bible, and you open up, they don't really believe in everything. And you give it some time, they'll tell you, but you got to pay attention. Go back to Romans 3 again. Romans 3 and 3. What's going on, family? You just got here, bro. What's your name? Gabriel, man, we talking about the Bible, bro. You on a show right now, believe it or not. This is Barbershop Talk with IUIC, right? What we're trying to do is get our people to wake up to who they are. The world don't know that there's a hidden people here, right here in Belize, that belong to God. Y'all ever heard of the tribe of Zebulon? That's your... Okay, watch this. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Okay. Jacob, his name was changed to Israel, right? Israel had 12 sons. My father's name was Judah, right? You Levi, right? This brother's father's name was Levi. Your father's name, you say you're Belizean, right? Your father's name was Zebulon. Our brothers over there in Jamaica, that's Benjamin. We got family over there in Puerto Rico, that's Ephraim. Those make up the 12 tribes of Israel that have been scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth. But we've never been taught this history. Why? Because white folks be lying. Just being honest with you. White people have lied to us about God. They've lied to us about Jesus. They lied to us about our heritage. What else they lying about? We do our best to be thought-provoking. We pray that y'all take something. What y'all take from today, research for yourself. Look into it for yourself. Because again, when you start to add things up in the Bible, everything don't make sense to everybody. But you had better make sure it makes sense. Read that. Romans 3 and 3.
Romans chapter 3, verse 3.
There's not one part in the Bible that you can go to and say, I'm good on that. Not one. You got to accept the whole thing. Otherwise, we're going to die, bro. Read.
For what if some did not believe?
Come on.
Shall their unbelief make the faith of God without effect?
Read.
God forbid.
God forbid.
Yea, let God be true, but every man a liar.
Every man a liar. Don't believe nobody. I don't care who it is. You got to read for yourself. Search for yourself. Is there more?
As it is written.
As it is written.
That thou mightest be justified in thy saying.
When it says as it is written, I got it. When I speak, notice when I was talking to the young man, everything that I say, I'm going to come to the Bible for. I'm not just going to do this yapping. I'm going to show you here. This is what it says. As it is written, read.
That thou mightest be justified in thy saying.
That you might be justified in your saying.
And mightest overcome when thou art judged.
And in that day when you stand before God, and he asks you, what did you spend your time on earth doing? Was you out here being a nigga? That's what they call us where we from. You was out there being a nigga? Or was you out, did you search for me? And the only way you can truly answer that question is if you truly searched. This got to be what you know. You got to know this better than cutting hair. You got to know this better than driving a car. You got to know this better than anything you do. That way can't nobody fool you. Go, you got that? No. Back where's that? As it is written.
As it is written,
read.
That thou mightest be justified in thy sayings, and mightest overcome when thou art judged.
For me to be justified in my sayings, that means my thoughts have to align with the Bible. That's the only way I could be justified. That's why if you notice, I ask boldly, show me in the Bible where it says you got to give 10% of your money to the pastor. And notice, nobody had no scripture. Nobody had nothing to read. It was just what? It was just talk. And that's what these pastors do. The difference is when you don't know this, they can fool you. I'm sure y'all got hustlers out here, right? Somebody come on, hey, man, I got this, man, come get this, man. I'm gonna say, nah, bro, I know you hustling me, bro. And the way you know that is because what? Your knowledge is clear in this Bible. Don't let these pastors hustle y'all, bro. Y'all got any questions before we get up out of here? Anything, any questions?
I want to ask one question.
What's up?
The information what we get from the past through history,
right,
upon the things where they do to the Israelites said, all the injury where they inflict on the Israelites there. I want to know why the people there.
Who?
No, the people will inflict the injury upon the Israelites. So we could call it the Israelites oppressors, right?
Right.
I want to know why they hate the Israelites so much. Why they hate them so much. Why they hate them so much that they do the things where they do when we about what we heard in the past, because upon this day me I used to know we don't really know much kind of like if we see it, right? Unless there are videos or things, but we hear about it in our books or through different documentary for people who survive or people who witness it in the past, right? So I just ask why.
So when you say inflict, you're talking about who? The oppressors? Who's
the oppressor? Who? All the oppressors, everybody who they're against the Israelites said. I want to know why they have that anger or why they have that way of life, that negative way against the Israelites. I want to know why they do such a thing. So I just give you the information. Right?
Let me make sure I follow you. Yeah. Who are the Israelites?
Because according to the Bible, they chose the people of God.
Which is who?
According to the Bible, they said that. According to the Bible, speaking of every single word of the Bible, they said that the black people, right?
It's you, bro. You the Israelite.
Well, I'm black, right? So
it's not just, remember, not all black. Remember, you have sons of Ham. They're black too. You know the Nilotes in Africa? They're not the same people, just like Chinese and Japanese, they're not the same people. But your people were the ones that went into slavery with slave ships, right? That's prophesied in the Bible. Did you know that was there? Give me that real quick, Deuteronomy 28. The reason why they hate us so much, think about it. If you woke up one day and found out that God didn't choose you, but he chose this guy, how would you feel? That's what they've done to us. This is why they come against us.
Why not? If you are guilty people, why not come along and try to help you?
Bruh, that's it. Well, hold on, get your other business. I want to show you that. You are absolutely right. Why not? If you know God chose these people, why be a hater? Why not just try to assist and look out for them? Because Satan controls the rest of them. When you understand God has his people, Satan controls the others.
Satan has his people as well.
Exactly. Exactly. Their job, think about it. They cannot rule this world unless you are at the bottom. That's the only way. Read that. Joel 3, read verse 4.
Joel chapter 3, verse 4.
Read.
Yea, and what have ye to do with me?
Chapter 3.
Verse 3.
Uh-huh.
And they have cast lots for my people.
They cast lots for who? The children of Israel. This is us going into slavery, read.
And have given a boy for an harlot.
They used to take, when it says give a boy for an harlot, you see how my size, my man right here? They used to take the big black slaves and be like, hey, look, go breed with this other big black slave and y'all make another big black slave so y'all can carry this daggone cotton, right? It says they turned a boy into a harlot.
And sold a girl for wine.
Read, meaning they made our daughters into prostitutes. They would lay down with our women. Read.
That they might drink.
Read.
Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
Uh-huh.
And all the coasts of Palestine.
Come on.
Will ye render me a recompense?
Wait a minute. Tyre and Zidon. These were the Canaanites. That my man, I was just trying to explain to him. They were not God's people, right? It says, and yea, Tyre and Zidon, read.
And all the coasts of Palestine.
And all the coasts of Palestine. Who are the Palestinians? The sons of Ishmael. Now remember, God chose Shem. He did not choose Ham. So now the sons of Tyre and Zidon are mad because God chose Shem. Later on, remember, Shem had a son as well. You go down to Abraham. God chose Isaac. He did not choose Ishmael. So God right here is saying, what you got to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon? He said, are you trying to pay me back? Why would they try to pay back God? For not choosing them. Read.
And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your own recompense upon your own head.
God said, because you're trying to pay me back, quickly and speedily I'm going to turn that recompense upon your own head. Read.
Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things.
What did they do? They came into Israel. To this day, they're in the land of Israel pretending to be you. Those Israelis over there in the land right now, them ain't the Jews. Them is white people that have came in and they colonized just like they did everywhere else they go. They come in and they try to become the people. They try to what? Get everybody to believe that they're the natural ones. Remember what Alexander did in Egypt?
Yeah.
Yes. Remember how he knocked the noses off the Sphinx in Africa? Why? Because he didn't want you to know that it was black people that did that. They said, we'll erase your whole history. They've been doing this stuff. This is why they're trying to pay us back for not being chosen. Read that one more time.
Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things.
Read.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians.
We were sold to, who are the Grecians? White people, Greeks. This is Bible prophecy coming to pass. We were sold by Ishmaelites and Canaanites. And they were given to what? To Grecians. Now watch this. Give me Revelation 13. What is the proper judgment for that then? For them coming against God's people. For them to come against God's people, enslave us, murder us, pillage our land, take our daughters, what would be the righteous judgment for that? Think about it. If somebody right now, and I'm just being 100 with you, somebody come and kick in your door and steal your daughter from you, what's on your mind? Be real. Pay it back, right?
Yeah.
Now listen, we're not inciting nothing, but let me show you how God moves. Read.
Revelation chapter 13 and verse 10.
Read.
He that leadeth into captivity
God says he that leads into captivity
shall go into
He
captivity.
said you gonna go into captivity. Come on.
He that killeth with the
And
sword
that man that killed with the sword,
must be killed with the sword.
that's Bible. That's what God said.
So you think that they can handle when the people are God gone through?
Say that again?
You think they can handle when the people are God gone through? If they don't can handle the society how it exists today?
Like you think the payback, how we
Yes,
handle them?
yes.
No. We're gonna deal righteously. We're not gonna rape their women. We're not gonna do that, but they are going into captivity. Give me Isaiah 14. This is the parts of the Bible that they don't want to read in church. They want to give you all the feel-good stuff and make you feel like Jesus is coming back with friendship bracelets and picnic baskets. That ain't happening. Get that. Isaiah 14.
Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 1.
Read.
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob.
Who is Jacob? You're Jacob. You're the sons of Jacob. Read.
And will yet choose Israel.
Come on.
And set them in their own land.
God's going to set the Israelites back in their homeland. Read.
And the strangers
Meaning the other nations, read,
shall be joined with them.
they're going to be joined with us, read.
And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
They're going to cleave, like you were saying. Shouldn't they want to help? They're going to want to help in that day. Read.
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place.
They're going to take those people and bring them to their place, read.
And the house of Israel shall possess them.
Shall what?
Shall possess
They're going
them
to possess those people.
in the land of the Lord for servants.
For what?
For servants.
Servants.
And handmaids.
That's the judgment for coming against God's people. They're going to have to be servants and handmaids to the children of Israel. The day's coming. But we far from that if we don't wake up to who we are and come back to God's commandments. Really.
And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
That's what we just read in Revelation. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. That's Bible. Read.
And they shall rule over their oppressors.
And you're going to rule over your oppressor. But the only way it'll happen is we come back to these laws. Get that religion stuff out your mind. I'm telling you, we got to get this white man Jesus up out our heads, bro. And the reason being is because we've been tainted. We think that, and so we start thinking like them. When we see white folks, we think that they're the ones that's close to God. That ain't Bible. That ain't Bible.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you. It's nation time.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord.